Thank you. Welcome. Appreciate you joining us today on training on how to do budgets within eFish. When you log on to eFish, go to Administration, Location Settings, and once you're here, you'll click on the Budget tab. Now, a couple things to start with. With the budget that you'll be setting for your P&L, you can come into also open another tab for Company Settings under Administration, and when you go into the accounts, you're able to select whatever accounts you want displayed in the P&L within eFish that you want. So if there are certain accounts, sales, or costs that you don't want being seen at the store level, uncheck the box and hit Save. That will help hide any type of information you don't want the store itself being able to see. Another thing to note on when doing your budget is to have a P&L, a current P&L handy with you. That way you'll be setting, as we move through here and set your accounts or set your budgets, you'll only set them to the ones that you're actually using on a current P&L. I'm going to start with, when you select on your budget tab, it's going to default to your current period. And from here, once you've finished setting your budget, you can go to the copy this budget to another period, click on that, and then select the month that you want to copy forward this budget to help make completing for the year much easier. First thing on our budgets we're going to set are our sales. What are our total sales going to be for the month? And you've got some basic formulas here. Flat amount, self-explanatory. Percent of last period sales would be the total sales last period, and then you would enter a value. If you wanted it to be higher than last period, you'd do 105%, 110, 115, whatever those last amounts you want to be greater than 100, greater than last period, you'd put, so 105, 110. If you want it to be less than, you might put 90, 80, if you anticipate a reduction in sales from the past period. Same holds true for last year's sales, except for this will take the exact period last year, those sales totals, and then you can do the same thing with the 105, 110, or 95, 90, etc. Account-based now is we'll total your sales forecast based on your individual sales accounts. For instance, food, beverage, beer, bottled beer, draft, etc. If you set these, then we'll take those and total them up for what the total account would be for the period. Not used very often, but there are some customers of ours that are very particular about setting their total sales based that way. All right, so once we decide on our formula and the value, then you're going to decide how do your sales come through the course of that month. Based on what you know about the business, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, you're able to set a value. So I could, in this case, we're going to make it where the sales are broken out evenly across the period, or you could have a high-end, maybe you have a high-end event or a holiday that really impacts sales in week 1. You could possibly make this 35% and then adjust these down to below 25%. That would then total up to 100 for you. So depending on how your sales come in, you can adjust those percentages accordingly. So now the next thing we're going to do is set the sales accounts based on this budget. So we'll come into food sales, and we have formulas here, another set of formulas to be able to set what we want that value to be. So for food sales, the most popular and most common would be a percent of budgeted sales, because it's going to be a percent of this budgeted number. So I would choose percent of budgeted sales, and then whatever I want that percent to be. If you'd like a little help, one place in eFish you can go to is the weekly journal. So from the daily journal, or from the operations tab, you click on the weekly journal. You could possibly select last week, the date, which I did here. And then when that pulls up under your categories tab, it'll show you your percentages based on your sales categories here that you've been running, at least most recently in the last week. So there are other places within eFish. You can use the dashboard, set a date range there for that location and look at the categories there over a month. But there are multiple places. This is just one quick way to try to help you if you want to know what you want to set those for. So I'd go through my sales and set each of those that are my sales accounts. And then we're going to come next into our food. Now, in the cost of goods area, we have a particular formula that we utilize, and that's percent of another account budget. And what this allows you to do is to say, all right, I want my food cost to be measured against only my food sales, and I want it to be 30% in this case. So instead of choosing budgeted sales and using your total sales amount, in this case, you'll only use food sales. And you can see how we would replicate that as you go through your beer, liquor, wine, etc., however you have them set up. you can tie your expenses directly back to a specific sales account, which will give you the most accurate cost of goods identification or cost of goods measurement. After that, you can move into your labor, and depending on your GL codes that we've pulled over from your accounting system, might depend on how detailed you want to make your labor budget. In this case, we're just going to set it for back of the house and front of the house and not set a particular budget for each job. However, you could do that in this case if you wanted. So in this case, we'd say, hey, instead of using a percent of another account budget, labor is traditionally set on total sales budgeted. So we, again, use the percent of budgeted sales and set the value that we would like for that and for front and back of the house. As you move into the other types of budgeting items, you may have a flat amount for pest control. You may have a flat amount for security, restaurant and repairs and maintenance. You may want to set that as a percent of budgeted sales. And again, these values should be on your P&L to show you what you currently are doing, and then you can decide whether you want them to be a little higher or lower as a particular target. So as you go through and finish the rest of your formulas and values for your budget, the last thing you want to do before you hit save is come all the way up to the top, and where this little swirly is, when you click on the swirly, it will take this 25% or however you've allocated your sales, and it will copy it all the way through all of your line items so that you don't have to type in those values each time on each line. Once you're done, you hit submit changes. This is now going to save this budget, and this budget will now be lined up next to your P&L in the accounting and P&L, short P&L and accumulated P&L within eFish. Thank you very much. Again, if you need help, you can hit this need help, click on the need help, go to help home, go to administration, and then budgets, and there's all the explanations on how to do budgets for you there as well. So you have it typed that you can go access here, and then you have this video to help you with your budgets. Thank you. Appreciate you using eFish. Have a great day.